The truth of the matter is that many people have a dread of any kind of exercise or physical activity. There are many reasons for this on both a physical and a psychological level. Regardless, what if I told you that I could get you to exactly where you want to be, and the starting point wouldn't require any visits to the gym or any physical activity whatsoever? In other words, there isn't any cause for alarm. In fact, you can be relieved that I'm not going to ask you to start some crazy workout plan, and you can watch today's show from the comfort of your couch. And you may just find yourself beginning a journey that you never thought was possible. So get out your journal, get out a piece of paper or a pen, and get ready to write some things down. All from the comfort of your couch and with zero sweat required. I'm going to be sharing with you some personal stories once again today, but most importantly, I'm going to be sharing with you 3 key components that you can begin using to think your way to a healthier, richer, and fuller life. Let's dive in. Welcome to episode 39 of the LeRock Show, where I'm here to help you get your fitness back on track at any age and regardless of your current fitness level, so you can spend more quality time with your families, have a brighter outlook on life, and finally find the true joy that life has to offer. I'm your host, LeRock. Another beautiful day and we get to hang out, and I'm so excited to be here once again to share this information with you. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, thanks for listening, thanks for putting me in your ears, and thanks for your reviews because it helps me to grow the channel. And if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for the continued support, thanks for the comments and feedback, because it really does inspire me to keep bringing on this free training every week. We really are all in this thing called life together. And hopefully these little tips and tricks that I share each week can help make a little bit of a difference in your life. Today's episode was carefully and thoughtfully put together in order to show you that the very first step when it comes to taking back your health and fitness and losing all the weight has nothing to do with the gym or exercise at all. Now that can come later, of course, but it is much more important to understand the key components to ensuring your success. Yes, I'm going to be sharing with you the 3 key components that can actually allow you to think your way to a healthier, fuller, and more joyous life. By now, if you've been watching for a while, you're fully aware that one of the key things I did in order to dig myself out of a state of obesity was by creating my very own eating approach. I call it Automate Your Plate. It's one of the key directives, directive number 3, that I talk about in my book and that I teach in my online course. I used it to shed 65 pounds in 13 weeks. And the coolest part about that is that was more than 15 years ago. That's right, I shed all the weight and it never came back. Now, the main benefit of this eating approach is it allows you to eat more frequently than you ever have before, all with less time and less effort. And those that have tried it and followed it correctly have had amazing results. So yes, I put together a free step-by-step checklist. I call it the Automate Your Plate checklist. It walks you through the entire Automate Your Plate process. You can use it as your very own quick start guide to automating your plate. So you can download it and begin using it right away. That's right, it takes everything that I teach about this in my book and in my online course, and it breaks it all down into a single page cheat sheet. It's super simple and easy to follow. You can get yourself a copy by going to www.ethanlerock.com/automate. And if you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down below and you can click on it and you can get it there. Download your own copy, give it a try, and be sure to let me know how it works out for you. And be sure that if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to drop me a line or a comment because I'm always happy to help. Okay, let's get into it. What I'm about to share with you today affects all aspects of your life and works really well when it comes to your health and fitness. Without ever getting off the couch, you're about to begin a journey, and it all starts with just a piece of paper or a journal and a pen. And get ready to write some things down because this is the very first step. The very first step on your journey begins in your mind. So make sure you're comfortable. Grab yourself a green tea or a glass of water or whatever beverage works for you and follow me as I walk you through these 3 simple key components that can allow you not only to shed weight, not only to keep it off for a lifetime, but to have an amazing, fulfilling, and rich life while you're at it. The very first key thing is intention. The intentional thought of what you want in life. Whenever you want to make a change in your life, whatever it might be, and this channel is all about health and fitness, but it actually applies to anything in your life. It all comes down to what you set your intentions on. So I'm going to share with you some stories today. The first one, we're talking about intention. There was a point in my life when I was alone and I wanted to find somebody that I could share my life with. And rather than just going out to bars and clubs and hoping that I would run into the right person, I set some intention in place. I went online and I got on a service that was out there. And I really took the time to think about what it was that I wanted in a person to be with for the rest of my life. And I wrote, what I did is I created a list. It was my top 10 list of things that I was looking for in a person. And I was very, very specific and intentional about all the things that I was looking for in my future wife. And at the time, I wasn't really thinking about, obviously I wasn't thinking about getting married, but I was thinking about meeting somebody that I could have a great relationship with. And instead of letting chance lead me to where I wanted to be, like I had done my entire life, for once in my life, I was methodical about it, and I was intentional about it. And I made things very clear about what I wanted. And the cool thing was, once I found this person that had all these qualities that I was looking for, I didn't just step back and go, okay, well, we'll see what happens. I made sure, I set intentions to make sure that I could bring her into my life. I didn't just do it halfway. I didn't just say, oh, it'd be nice if we could meet someday or hook up. I wanted to make sure that she felt special. So I went out and I bought tickets to a New Year's Eve bash here in town. The biggest one that there was. It was down on the riverfront in the main hall at the Cleary Auditorium here in Windsor. And it was just an amazing event. And I bought tickets to that, and our very first date was New Year's Eve. And I had pure intentions of having a good relationship with this person and having it be for a very long time. I didn't just do it halfway. I didn't just kind of say, oh, maybe it'll work out. I had intentions of finding the next person that I found in my life would be the person I spend the rest of my life with. And if I hadn't done that, if I hadn't treated it so special and set my intentions on this person and having her in my life, then maybe I wouldn't be where I am today. And long story short, it's been over 13 years. We're married now, and we have a wonderful life together. And it's all because I took it seriously. I set my focus on what was important, and I made that happen in my life. It's all about your intention. And the same applied when it came to my health and fitness. Years ago, when I found myself in the state of obesity for a second time, after going through a roller coaster of going up and down with my weight, being in shape, being out of shape, being in shape, being out of shape, I made an intentional decision that I never wanted to go back to that. I was going to get myself out of a state of obesity, but it was going to be for good this time. And the only way I could do that was by being smart and being intentional, and not just by diving into some diet that's out there or diving into some exercise program that's out there. I made sure that I was strategic and intentional. I made sure I knew exactly how much weight I needed to lose, what that all would look like in my mind, and then I spelled that whole thing out in a plan. I wasn't going to just jump back into exercising, 3 to 5 days a week or whatever it might be, 2 to 3 hours a day, and just go back into my old ways, because it got me to where I wanted to be. It would get me back in shape, but I would always fall back off the wagon and end up out of shape again. It just wasn't working out for me. So I set my intentions on how I could take care of it once and for all, which leads us into the next key component, planning. You see, once you have clear intentions established, you need to clear up the chaos and the clutter and the confusion by laying it all out in a clear plan. Now, for instance, when I decided that I wanted to marry my wife, okay, I fell in love with her. A few years had gone by and I decided I want to marry her. So instead of just winging it, what I did is I set my intention and I set out a plan. And I decided I was going to teach myself how to play guitar. I was going to teach myself to play a song that would work. And I strategically planned the whole thing out. And 5 years to the day that I met her, I got up on a stage. I surprised her at a New Year's Eve party. And I sang her a song from the stage. And quickly after that, I proposed to her in marriage. That didn't just fall into place by accident. It took a lot of planning and a lot of work and a lot of dedication. But in the end, she said yes, and it was one of the happiest days of my life. And when it comes to my health and fitness, the same thing applied. I had set my intentions on where I wanted to be, but then it was time to put a plan together. And that meant chunking out everything I was doing in my personal life. The time that I was spending, what was I doing with that valuable time? And I wrote it all out and I put a plan together that involved personal development. And I went and I had this old set of, believe it or not, cassette tapes from Tony Robbins called Personal Power. And I began listening to those every day. Because one thing I've learned I'm 52 years old, one thing I've learned over this long life of mine is that most of the problems that people have are caused by something that's much deeper than they can imagine. It's usually something deep within here that is causing people to do things that aren't good for them, like reaching out for high-calorie foods, alcoholism, drug addiction, all of it. It comes from something that's lacking. There's a sense of lack in their soul and in their mind, and they're trying to fill that void with things because they just don't feel at ease. They don't feel comfortable in life. Now, once I had some personal development, what happened is I was starting to get some continual positivity coming into my life, coming into my ears. Of all people, Tony Robbins was the person talking to me. Very smart and caring individual, by the way. And every day I started feeling better and better and better. But that wasn't all I did in my plan, of course. I also planned out my exercise. It started out with how much I would walk each week, and I scheduled that in. I made sure that I had time to get off my butt and get off the couch and start with baby steps, just going for a walk every day. And after that, guess what happened? Some pounds came off, and I revised my plan, and I started scheduling different workouts that I could do. But this time I was smart about it. I wasn't going to put myself through 2 and 3 hours of working out every day in the gym and killing myself so that I could be this super fit guy. I didn't care about that anymore. What I really cared about was being healthy for a lifetime. And I really was thoughtful about that whole process. What kind of workout could I do that would not consume all my time and would let me live a very enriching and fulfilling life? That meant that my workouts couldn't be hours and hours on end. And I made sure that I was intentional about keeping them less than an hour. And I made sure that every workout that I did was a beneficial workout, meaning it was high intensity and I was doing my workouts back to back, so supersetting. And I've been doing that for more than 15 years now. And I don't do it, so if it ever gets to a point where I was to dread my workout, then that workout would no longer be included in my schedule. I had to make sure that whatever I chose, I would enjoy in life. And that's the same thing I would advise to you. Be intentional about it. There's no rule out there that you have to do any kind of exercise that goes against what you're willing to accept on a physical level. You're the one who creates the entire plan. And of course, the other part of my plan was my amazing creation, my automate your plate eating approach. I put that thing together with so much intention and thought. I knew that my weakness was my temptations to high-calorie foods, and the fact that I knew what to eat, but I would always stray. I'd always end up going and eating some sort of fast food or some sort of high-calorie junk. One of my big things were nacho chips. I would just eat bags and bags of those darn things because I just loved them, right? It was my weakness. So what I did is I put some intentional thought, and I asked myself, what could I do to make it so that I never have to worry about the temptations ever again. And I started thinking about what causes that. Well, what causes that is hunger. If you're hungry, then you're gonna be craving high calorie foods. It's the way the body works. And once I figured that all out, I put together a plan that would make sure that I had healthy nutrition on a regular basis that was well balanced, that would keep me from temptation, that would make sure that I had food readily available at all times, and also that would allow me, the Automate Your Plate eating approach had to allow me some cheat days, some days when I knew that I could go and eat something that I wanted to eat, and I wouldn't have to feel guilty about it because that was also all part of my plan. And that was the last component that I used in my intentional plan. So the third key component that we're going to talk about today is taking consistent action. It's easy for people to tell you that consistency is key, and that's the whole key secret to life. But many people don't take the time to tell you how to be consistent and how to ensure that you can be consistent at this whole health and fitness thing. The key is to remember that you're the one who set up your plan. You're the one who had intention. You're the one who's developing your plan. So when you're developing the plan like we just talked about, the only way you can ensure consistency is to be realistic and very thoughtful and methodical about how you put together that plan. You need to really think about what you are able to do for the long term. Not only what you can do for the next 2 weeks to a month in order to get the best results, but what you can live with for the rest of your life. So when you're developing that personal plan of yours, be very selective, like I talk about with the personal development. Find somebody that you really want to be listening to, somebody positive that you can put into your ears that's going to motivate you in life to be a better person and feel better about who you are. And then secondly, the workout that you choose, that you want to put into your plan, make sure it's something that is not just because you've seen it on an advertisement or seen it on Facebook or seen it on YouTube, that it's more than that. It's something that you can see yourself doing for the rest of your life. That's not going to be hard on your joints. It's not going to hurt your tendons. It's going to get you the biggest bang for your buck. It's going to build your muscles up. It's going to make it so that your muscles are larger and you're burning more calories when you're just sitting still or sleeping. Those are all key things. And it shouldn't tie up all your time. Whatever workouts you decide to do or exercise or classes you decide to take, it should be on a regular basis, at least 3 days a week. And if you're very heavy, I would suggest 4 to 6 days a week. 4 days of something that's building your muscles, and at least a couple days where you're getting your cardio up, where you're breathing for at least 30 minutes. And starting out with walking is a great place to start. But you should make sure that you have something in your life that's going to be easy for you to do, that you're going to look forward to, right? Everybody looks forward to a nice, gentle walk out in nature, breathing the fresh air. And you just start from there, and then you work yourself up. You work yourself up to things that you enjoy in life. You need to find out what that is, but don't overdo it. That's the problem why most people end up right back to where they started. They sign up to something that isn't congruent with who they are. They sign up to something that they've seen out there somewhere on the internet they think is going to get them the biggest bang for their buck. And they forget about what they want in life. What's congruent with what they want in their life on a physical level. So getting back to consistency. I'm going to give another example about my relationship with my wife. It's been more than 13 years now. More than 13 years. And every single day, every single morning, I send her a loving, caring, and thoughtful text that tells her how I feel about her. It's about being consistent. That goes for your relationships. That goes for anything in life that you find important, that you hold dear. You need to be consistent with it. Another example is this Automate Your Plate thing that I created. I made sure that diet, when I was done designing it, it would be so easy to follow, easy to prepare. It would be a no-brainer, and it could be done on autopilot. That was key. I knew that if I didn't put something together like that, and nothing like that existed out there at the time, then I would have no chance of staying on this thing for the long term and being consistent with it. And I suggest the same for you. Whatever eating approach that you decide upon, that you put something together that's automatic, that has some sort of automatic mechanisms in place, because those will keep you on the path. Those will keep you consistent, and it better be delicious. It better be something you enjoy, because making yourself suffer to lose weight, it's a losing battle. You need to eat the way you want to eat. It needs to be intelligently designed. It needs to be nutritious. It needs to be flavorful. It needs to be aware of, you want to keep the high calories out, of course, but it just needs to be something that's livable. And yes, when it came to my workouts, I had to keep those workouts less than an hour. I knew that if I started working out more than an hour at a time, that I would end up right back where I am today in a state of obesity, because it's misery. Working out just for the sake of working out and staying in shape and doing it for hours and hours on end. When you're young and you're getting excited and involved in training and all that stuff, time goes by really quick in the gym, and it's very enjoyable. But as you get older and you have children and you have a job and you have responsibilities, it's just, time is precious. And you start to dread those workouts, especially after the 1 hour mark. That's about the point where I started to realize that I was done and I was ready to go home. So I made sure that when I designed my workout plan, and I suggest the same for you, that I made them less than an hour max each. And I'd be happy with that. I'm getting in the physical activity. When I'm in there, I make sure that I'm there for the job. I'm not talking and sitting around on the equipment. In fact, for the last almost 2 years now, I've been working out from home on that machine you see behind me. And I get in there and I get the job done. And I do it in less than an hour, and I'm consistent at it, and I enjoy it. And with those 3 super simple components, you can find yourself in a really good place in life. You can find yourself, like I am, very healthy, very fit for years and years and years. It starts with your intention, what you're thinking about. What are you going to set your sights on in life? It doesn't just have to be about your health and fitness, but we're talking about health and fitness because this is a weight loss channel. Well, what do you want your life to be? What are your intentions? And the only way you're going to get to where you want to be is by putting together a plan that spells it all out. It's that simple. You've only got 7 days. You've got 7 days in your week, okay? When you're outside of work, what are you doing with your time over those 7 days? And you may convince yourself to believe that you just don't have time. You don't have time for personal development. You don't have time for working out. You don't have time for creating a diet plan. You don't have time to eat properly and prepare meals. Well, that's all you're just convincing yourself of something that isn't true. You're the one who created your life, believe it or not, the life that you're living right now. Whether you have children, whether you have a crazy job, whether you have a busy schedule, whether you have all these commitments that you set yourself up for, those are all created and agreed to by you. And the cool thing about that is that you can change all that to whatever you want it to be. It takes some thought, it takes intention, and it takes planning. So you have to put those plans in place, and those plans must be reasonable and achievable in order for you to stay consistent at them. That's the key. Whatever plan you put in place, it needs to be achievable and reasonable and something that you can live with, that you can be excited about, that you can look forward to on a regular basis. And that's really the secret. That's the secret to a lifetime of being healthy, fit, full of joy, and just loving this amazing thing we call life. And again, if you're looking at something and you're going to set your intention on a new nutrition approach, then I may just have the answer that you're looking for. By all means, take full advantage and download my free Automate Your Plate checklist. It is based on the Automate Your Plate eating approach that I created and that I talk about. It's absolutely free. That's right. The cool part is I'm not selling you anything. I used it to shed 65 pounds in 13 weeks. It was a lifetime ago, and I believe in my heart that it can do the exact same thing for you. So go ahead and download it. You can go to ethanlerock.com/automate. And if you're watching on YouTube, there is a link down below. You can click on it and you can get it there. And before we go today, I'm curious. Please leave me some comments about how you felt about this week's episode. Do you believe it's possible that someone could just set their intentions just through thinking and change their entire life, lose a whole bunch of weight and keep it off for a lifetime? Do you think it's that easy that you can just set your intentions, set up a plan, and be consistent at it, and that's the answer? And if you disagree with that, I'm open to hear that as well, because I'm always interested in what you have to say. I'm also curious about, when do you plan on sitting down and writing out what your intentions are when it comes to your health and fitness? When do you plan on developing your plan? And how are you going to make sure that you can stay consistent at it? Because if you just plan on going to the next video or clicking on some sort of exercise program, you're not going to get the results you want to get. Results come from action. Results start with momentum. You need to take those first steps. You need to get moving in the right direction, and the rest will come easy. Have a blessed remainder of the day and the week. And until we meet again, stay healthy, be happy, and live your life with intention every single day.